it's not about whether you're good enough or not good enough. It's about being the purpose that you were born to be. But we're so busy judging ourselves, we're so good or we're so bad, that we just can't be in our purpose. So I needed him to put me in touch with my vibrational field and my mission in life, which I didn't know at that time was to do this. I had no idea, like I said yesterday. I did not understand what my purpose was in this life. I knew that my human personality liked and learned certain things. But actually, I needed to learn those things to do this, to understand more of the world. I had to study literature and love literature because I could be poetic if I wanted to in my talks. I needed to learn to be on stage and do drama because little did I know I would be in the highest stage of life of spiritual teaching, because there's no higher stage than that. So I'm very grateful for these lessons. But I could have stayed stuck for years if I didn't have that vibrational force of a master to push me up. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not about good or bad anymore when you develop spiritually. It's low vibration and high vibration. And it's much easier if you work like that. Because like Nalanie said yesterday about the boxes, when we put things in boxes, we just can't grow. We really can't grow. There's a lovely story by Anthony de Mello. There was a priest living in this town, and a few doors down, there was a boy who was very, very disruptive. So he went and told him off. You're very disruptive. You're causing a lot of trouble to everybody here. And then he goes, well, I'll do what I want because I'm protected by the Sultan. He's my uncle. So nobody can tell me what to do. So he goes, well, I'm a man of God, and I'm telling you that God does not like this action. Then he goes, the young man answers cheekily, well, God doesn't condemn me. God is love. So the priest goes and goes away. Anyway, a few months later, this boy is again being disruptive, and he goes, I'm going to tell him off again. He thinks he's protected, but what he's doing is really wrong. So as he's walking to the boy's house, and he's really angry, and he's going to say, you're no good, you're good for nothing. He hears a voice saying, no, you cannot touch him. He is my son. He's really confused. Anyway, he walks to the boy's house, and he says to the boy, I came here to tell you off, but I can't. Because on my way here, I heard this voice saying that you're his son, and I can't tell you off. So what happened was he left. The priest left. That boy, hearing that message, he thought, really? You heard God saying, or the voice saying, that I'm loved very much, and I do all these horrible things? He left his home, left all his belongings to find the voice. So you see, we don't know. We can't put things in boxes. And in my life, in the years of counseling, I've done now nearly 30 years, we can't put people in boxes. So many people come to me saying they're not good enough, they don't know their purpose because they don't have any gifts like other people. But you don't have to be like other people to know the importance of your purpose in life. You just have to be you. And more, I am seeing this. So how do you know is your purpose when you're not fighting against you to be somebody else? And how can you stop fighting with you, trying to be somebody else? Because that's our biggest battle. It's all here. It's all in this mind. How do you stop doing it? Really is to move into stillness. That's why I love the title. Thank you, Lakshmi, for choosing it. It really is just moving into stillness. I don't know any other way. Otherwise, you get so caught in the mind stuff. You just have to learn to listen. And learn to listen that the mind stuff is not you. It is part of your social upbringing. It's part of all your conscious upbringing. What you hear from the news, what you hear from teachers, what you hear from schools. That's all mind stuff. But to go into stillness is to be in touch with the witness, which is divine stuff. It's kind of like what Nalanie said last night. It's grace. It's grace. And the grace takes over. It takes over. It becomes stronger than you. And when it becomes stronger than you, these individual feelings of arrogance or shyness or too much humility or too much ego the other way, all that stops. All that stops. And instead, you just hear what you have to do. You see, many people have this ability to know their purpose in life. They do. I have seen this when they sit in my office and I talk to them. They do know what they have to do. They know what they like to do. Most of the time, they're just too fearful of not being good enough in what they do. So I tell them, go home. You have told me so clearly what you want to do with your life. I can't tell you what to do. You have talked to me. You have this inner, many people have this inner thing that they want to do. Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Fear, exactly that. Fear that the light might shine too brightly. Do you know people have a lot of fear of being who they are because they may be too bright for themselves? You don't belong to you anyway. You might as well be as bright as you can. Because that's the only thing you can leave in life is light for somebody else to find their way with your light. You can shine a torch, and each one of us has it. Really, we need to get in touch with that, because if we don't get in touch with that, our world is going into dire straits. Have you noticed a little bit? It's become so material. More and more young people have nothing to cling on to because religion has destroyed it for most people with all the religious wars and condemnation. So people have lost spirit. So we need more people in spirit to get the kids in touch with spirit in a different way, a more kind way, a more loving way. So if there's one purpose we all do have as yogis, it should be to transmit this love and to transmit this service for generations to come, because these young people have nothing to hold on to. Talk about God and they freak out. Talk about energy, they hear you. But it's not even talk, it's example. For example, I had a mother and daughter see me the other day. Just an example. The daughter has problems with vitamins, etc. She's had a blood test lacking in everything. So the mother sends her to me. I'm not a nutritionist. Her mind is not working well. She's depressed, etc. So I find out from the daughter, and I hear the daughter tells me, I really want to be a vegetarian, but my parents don't allow me. I said, do you like vegetables? No. Why don't you like vegetables? Because we never have them at home. Do you eat broccoli? No. Do you eat spinach? No. What do you have? Potatoes. French fries. This is a teenager. See? And then the mother's telling me the mind is not right because she's not eating right. You can speak to Silta about gut and is your second brain. She's more an expert than I am. And so the mother's complaining about the child, so I call the mother in. Mother's depressed. Why? Because she's also eating the same food. So I said, how can you tell your child that there's something wrong with her and she's not eating enough vegetables when you're not doing it? And the daughter said, you see, Mom, why I'm angry with you? Oh, well, but because I'm making a living and I have to feed you. I said, but you're not feeding her. You're buying her frozen food. Anybody can do that. See, Mom. So my point is, the only way we can do anything is really, in today's world, is do by example. So I told the daughter, you be your mother's teacher in front of the mother. I want you to learn about vegetarian cooking. I gave her a few quick recipes. You go try something simple, like get 2 eggs. She eats eggs though. So eggs, put some spinach in, put a little bit of cheese in, and make a nice tortilla with lots of spinach. I said, you like spinach. She's never tried spinach. Can you believe it? Teenager. Do you know, it's quite interesting what I see. And so I said, you teach your mom now. Because you be the example. And then the mom says, well, I never had a mom who did all this for me. So you see where it comes from. Yeah? So I said, break the cycle. Don't continue the cycle. We need to break cycles. You know, if you've been treated a certain way that you don't like in your life, your purpose then is to break the cycle and introduce love. You see, we have purpose, really, every single second of our day. We just don't see it as purpose because we think purpose should be something great. I learned the real meaning of purpose one time, well, a couple of times. In my early days, I'll give you a couple of stories. You know, people who collect the garbage. Whenever they used to park, I used to live in Gibraltar, and it's a small place and really quite noisy. And when I first started to meditate, the garbage van used to come down at 6 o'clock in the morning. They used to scream and shout. The men, I bang. Oh, still do you remember that? She used to visit me there in my home. And I go, oh. So, and you know, I always thought of them as rough and rude. This is my way of thinking before. Huh? I just started yoga. So one day I said, you know, I'm practicing awareness. I'm judging these people. I need to see why I'm judging them. So I open the window and I watch them. You know, carrying all these rubbish bags, and I saw all the rubbish fall on one man, and I thought, eeks, poor guys, what hard work. And I really saw, there were more yogis than I was. I don't think I could do that job for hundreds of people. And yet they were doing it. They were far better human beings than I was at that time. What was I doing anything for anyone? Nothing. I was just looking after my family. Doesn't everybody do that? That's normal. But these were doing, okay, they were getting paid, but still, it's a horrible job. Then the second realization I had was a few months later. I went to Hong Kong many years ago. I gave a talk. There were about 120 people in the audience. And after I finished the talk, a young lady came up to me and she said, thank you for saving my life. I didn't know who she was. I said, I'm really, really sorry. Have I met you before? Because I don't remember having a consultation with you. And then she said, no, you haven't. But I got in those days was cassettes. I got a cassette that you were talking about something, and a friend of mine gave it to me, and after listening to that cassette, I thought, I don't want to kill myself. I think I talked about suicide in that cassette. And she said, I don't want to kill myself. So I said, oh, great, but you know, to tell you the truth, I don't remember sending any cassette to Hong Kong. She said, no, my friend knows your niece, Minal, and Minal gave it to me. So I asked Minal, I said, yes, my friend told me there was a friend, da-da. So I contacted Shanti in Gibraltar, and that time we had Susan Roberts, who was from the States at our center. She did all the taping of the cassettes. So Shanti told Susan, Susan gave it to Shanti sent it to Minal, Minal gave it to a friend, and her friend gave it to this girl. So without any of those people in that line, she wouldn't have been saved. So it wasn't me that saved her, it was all of us. Do you see? Each one was necessary. Anyone in that line of work that wasn't there, she would not have been saved. So I actually told that girl, I have a lot of people to thank for saving your life. It's not just me. Look how clever the universe is. Look how clever. There's a sincere need and it will send it. I said, you must be loved very much for all that to happen so you get this. And with strangers who haven't even met you. And I've met you for the first time. I said, all I did was sit and talk and somebody taped me. That's all that happened, you know. So do you see how important? So I came back home and I told Shanti and Susan, thank you. I said, thank you. Why are you thanking me, Nalanie? I said, thank you. Because of you, they received that message. And I told Minal, thank you. So I said, it wasn't for you. So never say you're not useful. You never know what use you are in life. You just don't know. So you see, many times we think, oh, I'm in a place and I have no use here. It's not true. You are there, as our master said, because you're there for a reason. You have a use. Maybe you don't even see that you have a use. But that already is your purpose. If you can see the importance of your purpose, the most important purpose in life is just being. Just being. And not only that, the greatest gift in life is being, knowing that you are spirit having a physical experience. And everybody in this room knows that. Don't you think that's such a blessing? That is enough for you to know your purpose in life. So wherever you are, make it your purpose. Okay, you're in a place that you don't like. Ask, what am I being here for? Use me in this position that I don't like, but use me to be the best I can. Use me to be the best I can. So then, after that point, all you have to do is be the best you can. And how do you become the best you can? Moving into stillness. Observing the mind. What are your thoughts? What are the thoughts that surround you? What is going on here? I don't like this job, I really have to leave. Then you'll be stuck in that job for the rest of your life. And you can be as spiritual as you want. It's not going to make a difference. The universe doesn't understand bad or good. It understands vibration. I don't like, I don't like, I don't like, I don't like. It's going to give you I don't like. I don't like where I am. I'd like to be shown where to go. But since I'm here, I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to waste this moment. I'm going to learn to love it. Do you know, it's really quite important that, life is not about what you like or what you don't like. Because life is going to throw things at us constantly. Good things, bad things. Just learn to like it all. Much easier. And again, my master gave me this clue. When I was, that week I told you about that he spent in Spain and Gibraltar, changed my life completely. I said, what do I do with my life after being a week with you? I can't go back to just making money. And that's all it is. And he just gave me the biggest clue ever. Stop complaining. Purify your mind. Love everything you do. Meditate. When you are ready, God will use you. Okay, I wasn't ready. That's why I wasn't in my purpose. Simple. It was nobody's fault. It was me. It's so nice to take responsibility, by the way. For anybody who loves complaining and blaming everybody else, I tell you, take responsibility. Stop blaming somebody else because you become free right away. It's not that the problem of them will go away, it'll be there. And will stay for a long time to test you. Are you really strong enough to bypass that force of negativity and just ride over that wave and become positive and be the example rather than drowning into somebody else's negativity? Because this is our weakness. When people around us are negative, we get drowned in it and we blame them. No, you are in that position with the negative so you can learn to survive. And the only way you can survive, the only way is to touch the highest in you. Accept, adjust, and accommodate. Bear insult, bear injury. Highest sadhana, highest practice, Master Shivananda. Does it mean you're a doormat? No. It means you tried one way, it doesn't work. Now work on yourself and see where you, and if you're meant to leave that situation, it will push you. You don't have to worry about anything. Really, my master gave me this really brilliant example when, people used to come with me with problems with their marriages and relationships. I said, Gurudev, they never seem to be able to make up their minds, and every week it's the same problem, What do I do? Should I leave? They keep asking, should I go? I can't make that decision for them. They have to make it themselves. He said, Nalanie, you tell them. If the pot is too hot, Will they ask you, should I leave? Should I let go of the pot or not? They'll just let it go. They'll just let it go. So life is teaching them that the pot is not hot enough, so they still have to stay and learn. And when they've learned, it's too hot, I have to go, they'll go. And if they learn to cool the pot down, they'll stay. But they will do it. Do you see what I'm saying? You won't ask. If you don't listen, there are lots of signs in your life. You will get lots of signs in your life. If you don't listen, you just have to burn. And when you burn too much, you'll say, okay, I'm letting go of the pot. But up to the point of letting go of the pot, you get lots of hits. But once you let go of the pot, you know exactly what to do with your life. Then is a new beginning. Then you don't think about that hot pot anymore. Once you let it go, you let it go. Another crazy thing about purpose is people say, oh, I can't, stay in this relationship or any friendship, whatever, because it's pulling me down. So they leave. Great. That's what they wanted, right? They wanted to leave. Wow, you got your wish. And how nice. You didn't even have to leave. Your partner chose it for you. No karma on your side, because the partner says, can't deal with your shouting anymore. They leave. And so they come to me, oh, my partner left me. I say, fantastic. Isn't that what you wanted? Yay. Nalanie, how can you say that? I said, haven't you been complaining about your partner to me for 3 years? What a gift. It's not your karma. They've left you. You don't have to face the karma. Yes, but I did so much for them over all these years. And I say, you're really confused, There is your purpose and you don't even see it. And then after they left, after a few months, they're happy again. Everything's happy. And then the partner finds another person and they come to me crying. Why are you crying? My partner's found somebody else. I haven't. Oh my God. I thought you left your partner. Why you keep thinking about it? You might as well have stayed. Do you see? Once you leave, let go. You don't hold on to the boiling pot. Once you let go, just look forward, look ahead. Look ahead. And the only way you can look ahead is inspiring yourself. Okay, I've been stuck in this black cloud or this situation for so long. I don't know what my future is, but boy, is it exciting. Every day is new. And never get lazy. This is the people lose purpose when they sit at home and do nothing. Okay, this is where all the problems start. The biggest problems I have with people's minds are, to be very honest, is when they're very, very wealthy, they're not working and they're all day at home. They have too much time to do this. So don't ask that you should be so wealthy because you might have a crazy brain. And the lawyer in Marbella told me, she said, Nalanie, this is many years ago. Because everybody's, like the Algarve, Marbella, everybody comes and retires, right? So she said, I knew these people, they were my clients, they bought homes here in Marbella, very wealthy, and then they're so excited, they retire. So they come here to retire. I don't know what happens to them. Within a year, they get sick, they complain about the neighbors, they want lawsuits. I said they were, she told me, so they were intelligent human beings until they retired. I said that's nothing to do with their time. Do you see? Nothing purposeful. I mean, how many games of golf can you play? Unless you're a real expert and you go to all these tournaments, then there's a purpose in the tournaments. But if you're a mediocre player and you're never going to be anywhere here nor there, and then it's not enough. Do you see? It's not enough purpose. And then how many parties can you throw? After a while, you realize your friends are just with you because of the parties that you throw. And not because of you. You really understand that. They leave your home in a mess. So all they have to do is complain. And very soon they die. They get very sick and they die because there's no purpose. And there's a lovely story again. I love Anthony de Mello. Have you read Anthony de Mello? Any of you? Well, see if you can get his books. He was a Jesuit priest in India. He was actually Indian. And his writings a lot to do with non-attachment. A lot to do with ideas that we are attached to. I just love it because he just puts it so straight. Like in this simple story that he writes again, he says, there's a couple together and they're saying they're so happy, they're in love, they just got married. And the husband is saying to the wife, darling, I love you so much. Now all we need to do is work very hard, become rich, and then we will be happy. And she looks at him and she goes, no, darling. We are already so rich. Now we only have to work hard to make some money. Do you see? We are already so rich. We are already so rich. See, if you don't think that, and you think you have to be a certain way, then the universe will keep you waiting. But if you know, I am already so rich. And this is why the Buddhists say it is really important, the prayer of gratitude and the prayer of abundance. Many years ago, when my husband and I were going through a really difficult time with finances, and we had 2 kids in school. Literally, we had £100 in our bank account, and the school fees per month was like 8,000. That's just school fees alone. And we thought, how are we going to do it? How are we going to pay it? We worked really hard. We worked all hours of the day to make, because it wasn't the kids that wanted it. We wanted the best for our kids, although they were brilliant students and they never gave us a problem. So, and I told, my dad helped us through that time, but I never liked to ask my dad for anything because he was so lovely. So anyway, I said to my dad, we're going through such a difficult time, we can't afford this, and should I take the children out of school? And he said, never say you cannot afford. Never say it. I said, but Dad, it's true. I really can't. But don't say it. But I mean it, Dad. It's truthful. That is exactly what you say. You can't afford. You won't be able to afford. And you see, at that time, I was just early practitioner of yoga. I didn't really understand the power of vibrational words. I really didn't understand. So he was so strict with me, Dad, that I started to say, you know what, really, I'm very abundant. What's the worst that can happen? Take the kids off school. Never happened after that. The business, I started to focus more on changing lines. My husband and I changed lines. And I don't know what happened. I had one good customer, loved my clothes that we designed. And I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. So see, scared of your own light. I thought I wasn't a designer, even though I went to art school. I did my own creations. We sold every single piece. For each piece was 800 to 1,000 pounds in those days. It was 1991. Sequences were in, and we had handmade. I found somebody in Hong Kong to do it, and the business went right up. So you see, just by energy fields, already there's a lot of energy in the body from meditation, from spiritual practices. Already there's a lot of energy in your body just there. And then you just have to apply the I know. I know. Whether it happens or not is not really the question. But when you are knowing, you are peaceful. Isn't it true? It's when you are doubting is when you're not peaceful. When you're in fear, you're not peaceful. The universe doesn't understand those maybes. It will give you your answer, but you have to take risks. How many times you need to do something and you delay it? How many of you have done that in your life? How many of you? Just delay it. Yeah, don't delay. You said it, right? Yesterday, Kalyani, you said, I need to push forward. Yes, and your mom would love to see you push forward. It would make her the happiest mom in the world. She can really rest in peace. She will not till you move forward. She needs you to move forward. And so you move forward because you deserve it. Don't you deserve it? Yeah, that's it. I deserve it. Can you all say, I deserve the best? I deserve the best. Say it because, like this priest said to this young boy, He was cheeky and said God doesn't condemn, but he had no energy, didn't even know what he was saying. But when the priest said to the boy, God said, I can't harm you, that you are protected. Wow, he got a realization. Wow, this friend really loves me. I am good enough. Do you see? It's kind of like when Gurdev said to me in the church in Rwanda, don't you dare call yourself a sinner. You're a child of God. It shifts your consciousness. You see, we've been so brainwashed for generations. It's in our DNA. It's in our genetics. How long has religion. I have nothing against any of the religions. It's the leaders that have taught us so wrongly. Everybody wants to be in charge of everybody. Everybody wants to instill fear in somebody else. So that they can be big, you have to be small. Do you see what I'm saying? But that's not the truth. All the greatest masters. Lord Jesus, what did he say? Do what I do. They will know you, love each other as I have loved you, and they will know you as my disciple. You are all my brothers and sisters. Do what I do, and then you will also realize the divine. But what do? Pray, 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 condemn, complain, do all the horrible things. And I am a good Christian. Oh, Hari Om. Or I'm a good Hindu. Or I'm a good Buddhist. Oh, if you don't listen to me, you're going to hell. What made me God suddenly? Do you see? What made me God? You're God just as much as I am. Just as much as I am. So the moment you see that I am better than you, or you watch that. It's not about that. It really isn't. Just be you. That's your purpose. Really understand that is your purpose and start to listen to it. It's scary to step into yourself. It's scary to be original. It's scary to be just you. It is scary. It really is. I know how scary, because I was frightened, But you really have to put yourself out of the picture. Your human you. A little bit stand back, and do it for the greater you. Do it for the benefit of mankind. Do it for the benefit of somebody else. Because when you benefit somebody else, you benefit yourself at the same time. You do. You see, if you bake a delicious cake, for example, you're working really hard, you put all the ingredients, you spend all that money, you bake a cake. But if you eat it yourself, you're not going to enjoy it, are you? Well, if you bake a cake and you bring it there and you take it to everyone, everybody goes, wow, what a delicious cake. You had purpose. Isn't it true? It was purpose. Everybody's enjoying it. And that makes you even happier. Some of the chefs, we have Michelle, who's a caterer in Spain, part of our Sangha, and she's now joined our committee in Gibraltar to run the yoga center there with us. She's brilliant. And she caters to some royal family, etc. She is so humble. She is so humble. She's able to do everything. So she's put spirit in her work, in her food. So anybody who eats that food is just going to develop so much peace. Her purpose is in the food. It's not about what you're doing. It's understanding who you are. And she doesn't show off about it. I mean, I'm the one who tells people. You wouldn't know. I only knew because I had a long conversation with her once about her catering, and she goes, oh yeah, I've been invited here to do this. What? And Michelle, you're so humble with it. Because she just gets on with it. Just gets on with it. And serving all of us, taking her busy schedule to come and do these mundane things in the yoga center, like nobody's got the toilet fixed, you know what it's all about. Oh no, they didn't do, the plumbing's gone, this is gone. Oh. Plumbing's gone, just fix it. But anyway, so purpose, purpose is awareness. You're useful every single second, but we seem to depend on everybody else to be useful for us because we're too scared to step up and be us. Oh, she'll do it better than me. How do you know? How do you know somebody else is going to do if you don't step up? Even if you have the thought, I want to go and help, but I'm embarrassed, just do it, follow it. Follow it, because if you don't follow it, you'll never be yourself. For example, many years ago, my first satsang, I think, in Gibraltar, many years, must be 30 years ago now, it's a lady who came to see me, and she said, one of the talks, she was saying, every day I go to work, and I see this lady, old lady, Spanish lady, struggling to get up the escalator. So I said, what do you do? Nothing, I'm scared she'll shout at me. Maybe she doesn't want help. I said, how long have you been doing this for? Oh, maybe 8 months. And you never stepped up and offered her help? No. What if she shouts? So she shouts, but at least you've done it. You've been thinking about it for 8 months. Try it. So the next Wednesday she came back and she goes, Nalanie, different face. I've been taking this woman up every day on the escalator. Oh, what happened? She was so grateful. She said for so many years, she's so frightened, but she has to go up the escalator. And she was hoping she was praying to God that somebody would come and help her so she didn't have to face this every single morning. Do you see? So you got the message 8 months ago. You just never had the courage to follow your message. And the poor lady suffered 8 months to teach you a great lesson. You feel it, just do it. What's all this, they like me, they don't like me, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? She scream at you, you did it. We're so scared of outcome that we stop ourselves. Purpose is always there. Opportunity is always there. So knowing the importance of service in every single second of every single day. Okay, so some people say, but I feel I have a mission in life. I feel I have a mission in life, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I really feel there's something I need to do. So I said, the feeling that you have a purpose in your life and you're not achieving it, or you don't know what it is because you haven't had enough time with you. Your life is probably, and most of the time I see this, you're so concerned, this is the other way, so concerned about everybody else, your family, bringing up the family, doing this right, collecting money, collecting this, that you have had no time to sit down and be, actually in this case, a little, I won't call it selfish, but a little caring, a bit more love for you to understand where your position is in life. Because selfless service is great, but selfless service is also towards yourself. Right? Because you also don't belong to you, right? Don't personalize yourself. You also don't belong to you. So you also need to spend time with you. Not selfishly, but selflessly. And you've never spent time with you, and yet there's this voice inside, I know there's a bigger purpose, I know there's a greater purpose. But there's no time to sit and hear, because you're so busy helping everybody else. That's also a problem. Because then it's out of balance too. See, when it's selfless service, you don't have to think about any of it. It just happens by itself, everything. And if you don't listen, it'll get you sick. So it's okay too. Everything is okay. You don't worry about that. Oh, I didn't listen, got sick, no problem, I can rest. It tells you what to do. You really don't have to think so much. What you need to do is, though, spend some time understanding you. In the early stages, I used to write my diaries. I have so many. I keep carrying mine, but nowadays I never need to write. I think I speak so much that I don't need to write anymore. So, and these diaries were spiritual diaries, talking to myself. Basically, what was going on in my mind. And then I would read it and I could hear my thoughts written down. But I'm very truthful to my thoughts. Oh, I really don't like this. Ooh. I was very truthful. Okay, so how do I get to sort this I don't like? not to judge that I didn't like it, because that was really truthful. You can't like, oh, it's not nice, but I'm really trying to like it like this, like you said last night, right? So you have to fake it a little in the beginning, but still accepting you got a problem with this. How my master told me to do this was really, in the case of forgiveness, for example, he said, what you do is, because I told him I was really upset with this person, I was angry, full of hatred in those days. Ooh, sounds weird even to say the word hate now. But in those days, yes. So he goes, Nalanie, you have to forgive before you can move on. And I go, but I'm not the one who created the problem, they did. Yes, but you're the one who wants the peace, and you're the one who is the yogi. So he said, you have to forgive. But how, Gurudev? Oh, make me a hypocrite. To bless somebody or forgive someone when I don't really feel that. And he said, you have to fake it to make it? In the beginning, yes. He said, every day before you meditate, you see this person, cover them with light, and bless them, bless them, bless them, bless them. I don't really feel like it, so just do it. So I did it. I was a good student. I really did it. And really, after, a few weeks, the first few weeks were terrible because I felt I was resisting myself. I was not being truthful. But after a few weeks, you get, like everything else, they say 21 days and you develop the habit. So it became a habit. And what shocked me, it was 6 months later, I was confronted with this person. And just before I was thinking, my knees were shaking. I was still fearful. Maybe, it hasn't worked. All this meditation hasn't worked, But when I actually saw the person, I got a shock. My knees stopped shaking. And all I saw was a very sad human being. So my vision of somebody who was trying to destroy me became a vision of somebody who was so sad. The moment I felt this person was so sad, I could no longer be angry. Do you see? So it was a transformation. So instead of being angry, all those 6 months of blessing her was benefiting me because it developed compassion in me. So from anger, it developed into compassion by itself. But it takes work. It takes work on yourself. It takes work. We want things to work right now. It doesn't work that way. It takes time for these thought patterns which have been in our brain for so long to dissolve into every single atom of our being until each cell is purified. It takes time. So even if you feel like for maybe a year later and you say, oh, I've done all this forgiveness thing already, I'm really forgiven. Maybe 2 years later something turns up and the anger comes back again. It happens to many people and they tell me this. But Nellie, I was fine. And I said, normal. It's just a few crumbs in the cell. It's normal. Don't give it any energy. It's just the leftovers. It's leftovers. You just have to purge it out. The cell is cleaning out. The vibrational field is cleaning out. So allow it to clean out without judgment. Just keep doing the work. Purpose will only come to you when you stop judging right or wrong. Just be in that moment. And like you said, if the idea comes, do it. Just do it. If you feel like getting up and do something, just do it. You never know what that purpose is for. You don't know how it will benefit somebody. And don't judge it. Don't judge it. Don't judge it.